Hi guys, welcome back. You know you have too many pencils when you forget you have Prismacolor Watercolor. It was a couple of weeks ago, my friend Tracy sends me an email. She says, do you have Prismacolor Watercolors? I've never heard of it. And I had to stop and think for a minute. How did I miss that one? There's a Prismacolor Watercolor? Completely blank. Went on to Amazon, looked at my purchase history, and in 2017, I bought it. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be somewhere. And I found it. I have the full 36 set. Now, unfortunately, that's all they come in. And I'm really, really super sorry that's all that's come in, because I would be singing the praises of this watercolor pencil forever. So what I did to show this to you is I put it on one of the swatching comps. Now, I'm missing like 2 pencils. I don't know what colors I'm missing. And what I did was, on the top is the watercolor. Here is watercolor, and I'm going to activate it. So this will be the pencil, the activation. This is the regular pencil, so you can compare the color. And over here on the other side is going to be, well, it is the marker, because I have the full, well, I have one of the marker sets. I don't have the largest one. I was looking for something to match up with the 150, and I think it was 162. But I figured that set is like the second largest, is one larger. I figured that set, being that it was above 150, would have all the 150 pencils, but unfortunately it doesn't. So what I did with it is I have my swatch sheets actually on it's taped onto the marker, because this is all they give you. It's hard to pick it out. So all of this is what I put on. So, and that's the true color. For some of them, I was able to match it up. I don't have everything because it didn't come in the set that I bought. I would imagine they're all in the largest set, and they just left a couple of out in the second largest. And let me tell you, they're not cheap. The set that I bought the brush set. It was, without the fact that I had some credit on Amazon, the set was nearly $500 set. It's like a Copic set. Well, Copic is in the thousands, but this is still up there. So let's take a look at what they have in the watercolor set. Now, the watercolor set, I think it's like $39. It's not all that horrible. It's about the price of a decent budget set. These pencils are really smooth. Some of them I wouldn't have been able to tell if it was the regular Prismacolor versus the watercolor. And usually watercolor is a little bit more scratchy. So we're going to start with the poppy red. And I'm going to just activate it. Look how easy it activates and how bright it gets. And then it swatches over. But look how vibrant it gets. Now, it's a little bit lighter than the regular poppy red over here. It's a little bit more orange. And the marker is a little bit on the brick redder side, the browner red side. But it's a pretty good match. I mean, it's not like you're not going to be disappointed with it. I bought my marker set because I wanted it to match my Prismacolors. So here we have Crimson Lake. Crimson Lake was a lot lighter than the pencil, and I don't have the marker. It was the one color I know that they didn't include in my set when I was originally swatching it. I can't find my original swatch sheet. When I was originally swatching it, the markers, I remember it did not have that color. So it's a lot off with the Crimson Lake. I thought maybe I used the wrong pencil, being it was so off, but I remember double checking this, and it definitely looked like that. So it's a little bit lighter. Now here's the Crimson Red. I'm not using very much water. And one of my favorite colors is Mulberry, and I'm really glad that it has a Mulberry watercolor. And you can see it pretty much matches. Maybe it's coming out a little bit lighter than the pencil, but it's a watercolor, so it's going to be a little bit less pigmented. Okay, so now we have the light peach, and I am really happy that they have a light peach. The one thing I do have to criticize the watercolors, they have no stock, so you can't go and replace. Now, this would have been completely sweet if I could replace it. I always do light peach for most of my skin tone. I always start out with a little bit of a light peach, and unless it has like really dark skin. But that's my go-to pencil for that. I would love to do it in a watercolor and save the tooth on the paper, one, so I have to spare it. And here's the blush pink, which is another one that's in my arsenal of skin tone colors I use all the time. And that's really nice. Okay, orange looks like it's going to come out exactly orange. It looks pretty much matched. Now that's the thing, is Prismacolor is supposed to have matched up their entire line, so they all should be really good matches. Directly under the pencil, it melts. I mean, talk about water solubility. It's just totally, and that's nice. It gets a little bit yellowish, so I would look at it like this. It's more like I would think a Spanish orange would be as it goes across the page. The yellow really comes out in it. Now let's see about the Spanish orange. Very nice. Kind of when you bring it out, kind of looks like a canary yellow. Still, I mean, the Spanish orange is a little bit more orangey. This is a little bit more yellow. Just some of the differences. And here's the sunburst yellow, which I think comes out more like lemon yellow when you add water. Again, the sunburst yellow is definitely, this is the pencil and this is the marker, and it's definitely a more orange color, where the watercolor is definitely yellow. Okay, goldenrod is another one that I cannot live without. I was very happy that it had this, and let's see what it turns into. I'll just make sure I have nothing on my brush. No, because that's looking very yellow too. No, that's dissolving. It's the pigment. It too is a little bit bright. I would have liked to have some of the browner in it, but you can always mix and match. Cream. Let's see. Now, I'm always looking for that perfect color to put in the middle of light. Cream was never it. It wasn't perfect, but I super like the watercolor cream, and I could see me using this for the middle of flame. Definitely. I cannot believe that this has been sitting in my house all these years, and I had no clue. And it's not really my fault, because I probably, if it was 2017, more than likely I bought them for my daughter for art school, and she just brought it home and gave it back to me, and I didn't remember. Okay, canary yellow. Now this, you guys know I talk about all the time. It's my favorite color in the box, and it does a really nice canary yellow. Again, the canary yellow marker and pencil are slightly more orange. Just ever so slightly. I can work with it. Okay, so we got spring green, another very popular color. I think they did a good job picking these colors out. Now, of course, the watercolors are not new. Seeing what that spring green looks like on the top. Very nice. Okay, of course, grass green. This looks more to me like parrot green. I don't know. Than grass green. And it's pretty green. Parrot green has a little bit of blue in it. But that is a little bit darker than the marker. The marker to me looked jade. So I didn't think that they did a very good job with the pigment of the marker for grass green. But is it jade, or it's a different color? When I see it in here, Selden green. I think it's kind of like a combination of that. It didn't remind me of grass green, the color. Now, of course, we have the middle range green, or the true green. And that should be right down the middle. Not a blue, not a yellow. And it pretty much matches. Very pretty. Now, of course, I only put one layer on. Now, once you activate watercolors, you can't activate them a second time. They become like inks. Okay, we're doing olive green. So you can layer these 100 times. Okay, this isn't melting as good as the others. The olive green. I have a lot of water down. I'm just getting it going. Okay. That took a lot of water. It's a little bit more time. Pretty. Okay, now we have the indigo blue. Another very popular color. Now, the indigo blue is a mixture of blue and black. So I would have liked this to be a little darker. I think this should be like a navy blue. I would not have guessed this to be indigo at all. Because here you have the indigo and it's dark blue. And here, it's even darker than this. And this is the pencil. So this is the lightest of the three. But even in this form, it's almost matching. But as soon as you put the water on. Okay, Copenhagen blue. Very nice. So we have the Copenhagen blue. Oh, that's pretty. Wow. Okay, so I have my favorite color here now. Out of all of these, look how beautiful that swipes out. That's kind of a dark, well, I would have guessed non-photo, but that's a beautiful, beautiful color. Very jeweled. Okay, so now they put a non-photo blue in here. And I'm curious to see how it goes with this, because these are more on the violet blue sides than the greener side. And so the non-photo blue is going out, and it's reminding me more of the sky blue. So that's where you have kind of like the difference. I kind of look at the non-photo blue as candy, like a candy blue. But this is a sky color, which I usually don't put non-photo in my skies. Okay, so it just released a little bit more of the pigment. And I would definitely use that in a sky. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Now, peacock blue, you know, is a jeweled color. And let's see. This is usually a color. Yep, look at that. I was just going to say, this is usually a color that really looks good mixed with white. The peacock blue reminds me very much of the Copenhagen. So if we put it side by side to each other, they probably should have put one in or the other, because it was only 36 slots. And they're similar to begin with. This is a little bit more green, but when you swatched it out, it is definitely the same color, maybe a little bit lighter than the Copenhagen. They'd probably look very pretty together. It is a little bit darker, but I bet these two colors would be gorgeous on a watercolor together. Okay, parrot green. Let's see. It's a little bit lighter, but that's to be expected. It's a pretty good match. I mean, it's a pretty good match. So they did a really good job with the three of them here. Of course, the marker being a little bit more solid. Okay, then we got our violet. And that's pretty close to what I would expect violet to be. Right there. So that's a nice matchup, all three of them. And then we have lilac, which is violet with a little bit of white in it. And it's a very good match. Right here and right here and right there. With the marker being a little bit more blue. Just a smidge. Okay, that moves on to the violet blue. Very nice. That's a beautiful color. Wow. That got very vibrant. Wow, really quick too. And let's see, ultramarine. I would imagine ultramarine being extremely similar. A little bit lighter, but really doesn't have any real impact being two different colors. I wish they had gone to an imperial violet or maybe the diazonine purple hue instead of giving us the violet blue and the ultramarine, because you could see they're virtually the same. No, they're the same. Okay, so that's 2 of the 36 that are pretty much matched. They could have done a little better job at picking. I mean, when you only have 36 out of 150 colors, you could pick a little better. Okay, so now we have the terracotta. It's got a lot of yellow in it. Well, I just pulled a lot of yellow, so now we know the undertone of terracotta, which I thought was a little bit red or redder, but I just pulled a lot of yellow out of that. Okay, and the sienna brown, which is one of my go-to colors also, and it's a little bit on the redder brown side. Yeah, you know what? It's matching very closely to the terracotta. I mean, with all the pencils they could have picked, they could have given us a burnt ochre, they could have given us a chestnut, maybe one of the, seashell pinks or a beige, a clay rose, and they gave us terracotta and sienna. Do you see any difference? I don't. So now that's 3 matching pairs. Okay, dark umber and dark brown, which they're close. Okay, that's a little disappointing that the dark umber lost a lot of its gray as soon as it touched the water. It became a dark brown. Okay, but then again, it still needs to dry. We'll see if it matches up. But that's a browner, and usually the umbers have that earthy feel, that brown, that a gray mixed with brown. And I have a feeling it's going to match up very well with the dark. I think we're going to have 2 colors that are the same again. And here's the dark brown turning into light brown. Or into the chocolate color. Maybe this is why it wasn't that popular, this pencil set. Okay. I still think it's fantastic. I love this set. Even though some of the colors aren't matching up perfectly, it's just something you get used to what colors you can choose. So like if you want a dark brown, you have to think to yourself, okay, what color is dark brown? That would be this set's dark umber. If you want a light brown, it's definitely, this is not a dark brown. This is dark brown, and this is more like a chocolate. So it's kind of shifting its way over. Okay, so we have the cool grays, and I'm curious about this because they don't give you many grays. Here's the cool gray 50%, so I'm really curious about what it turns into. This is the first time I'm swatching all of the colors. I did a quick video, which hasn't come out yet, using these, but I only used a couple of the colors, like maybe 2 or 3. Okay, I would say this was a 50% cool. I mean, of course, it's the watercolor version, but it's still the same hue as the cool. I would recognize that as a cool gray. And now we have the French gray, which has the little bit of the brown in it. And let's see if it's brought out. Yeah, I could tell there's brown in this. This is beige. So this is a beigey gray. I could definitely would look at this and say French gray. And it probably would, like if you had something that you needed to do in beige, you probably could get away with the French gray 20%. And then we have the black. And I think that's all of them, all 36. Well, I only have 34. But yeah, it looks like I swatched all of them. Okay, let's see how dark black is. It looks kind of gray. Oh, that nicely turned. Look at that. That got real dark. Okay, I'm happy with this. It's a nice jet black. Now that's jet black. The marker set comes with several different blacks. I think a little bit too many. I forgot the exact number, but it was something like 6 of them. And they're all different types of black. Degrees of black. And that looks like the jet. I used the jet black for this one. So that pretty much matches the jet black. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's your Prismacolor. That's your Prismacolor watercolors. Again, very easy to melt down. Very little water. My paper dried almost immediately. Considering in some of the books that we color in, they're not watercolor paper. So it doesn't absorb the water the way the watercolor paper does. I'm very happy. It doesn't seem to be buckling my paper. Maybe a little bit, but that could flatten out as it dries. In general, very happy with the color tones and what they have. Maybe they should have done a little better job at matching up and not giving us duplicates. And that is my review on these colors, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.